Hello again, everyone. This is BBD here for another Versus video. This time I'm playing Red-Green Aggro, courtesy of Ross Merriam. He top-aided the Invitational last weekend with it, and it looked like a pretty sweet deck. I'm not a huge fan of these style of decks in general, but his deck looked really awesome, so I'm pretty excited to try it out. I'm going to start out by talking about the mana base here. I actually don't know what I'm looking at. It looks like basic lands. I haven't seen one of those in a really long time, so I'm a little bit confused, but I guess when you're playing a two-color deck, there just isn't too much besides basic lands that you can play. So we have a lot of we want to make sure we have 12 forests so that Arbor Elf isn't a completely dead card. Other than that, the mana base is pretty straightforward. I might like a second Kessig Wolfrun in there. Just between Arbor Elf and Gyre Sage, we have a number of ways to generate a lot of mana, so I think Wolfrun is pretty powerful in a deck like this. But other than that, the mana base looks pretty solid. I'm going to talk a little bit about the deck itself now. As you can see, the deck is almost all creatures. We have along with that, we have 4 Domri Rod, which is really good when you play this many creatures because her +1 is going to hit most of the time. And her fight ability is also really awesome when you have take into consideration stuff like Wolfear Silverheart, Gore-Clan Rampagers, Thundermaw Hellkite. We have a lot of really big creatures in here. So her fight ability is going to basically just be a removal spell most of the time. We also have 4 Bonfire of the Damned, which it seems a little weird in a 23 land deck to play 4 Bonfires. But again, between Arbor Elf and Gyre Sage, mana isn't that much of a problem, and we can generally hardcast these Bonfires for 2 or 3 if we have them in our hand, and anytime we miracle them, it's just going to be a huge blowout. As for the creatures themselves, we want 4 Arbor Elves just to accelerate us a bit, get us to some of these fatties like a little bit faster, and then Burning Tree Emissary is pretty much a staple in any kind of red-green deck, aggressive deck like this. It does a lot of awesome things like level up your Gyre Sage, allow you to play a Flinthoof Boar the same turn you play the Emissary, etc., etc. It's just a really powerful effect. Flinthoof Boar is basically just Bogart Ram Gang, right? And still a good creature, even though creatures have kind of power creeped in the last few years. It's still a very solid creature. Borderland Rangers here. Again, we have a lot of basics in the deck. It's just a great way to make sure we hit the mana to play our Wolfear Silverhearts and Thundermaw Hellkites. Hellrider, basically probably like the best creature in this kind of a deck. This is what lets you like really kill your opponent very fast. And because of stuff like Arbor Elf, we can even cast this on like on turn 3, which is like a much earlier than most people are prepared to deal with it. Gore-Clan Rampagers is pretty sweet in this deck for just a number of reasons. For one, he interacts very well with Domri. If you Blood Rush one of your guys, it's now huge, so then you can fight with Domri and kill pretty much any creature. Additionally, if you just hard cast it, it also makes your guy. It's also just a huge creature by itself to fight with. So it has an awesome interaction with Domri, and it's very good against cards like Thragtusk that are going to ruin your day by like trading with all your guys. So I really like seeing 4 Gore-Clan Rampagers here. I think it definitely fits the deck better than something like Huntmaster of the Fells. Huntmaster is a lot more of like a defensive style card, whereas Gore-Clan's much more aggressive, and I like that in a deck like this. And then there's a mixture between Thundermaw Hellkite and Wolfear Silverheart. Both have advantages and disadvantages the other doesn't have. Silverheart's very good against like any kind of like aggressive deck. Just really like stalls the board and lets your Wolfrun like take over the game, or your Domri. And Thundermaw is just great against any kind of a control deck or any kind of a deck playing Lingering Souls like the Junk Reanimator decks. But this is the main deck. I'm now going to talk a little bit about the sideboard. All right, here we are with the sideboard. I'm going to start out with 4 Strangleroot Geists. Strangleroot Geist is a pretty interesting card to sideboard. Usually cards like this are in the main deck or just not in the deck at all. But I do actually like it a lot in the sideboard of this deck. It's very good against a lot of the aggressive decks like Naya Blitz or any of the mono red style decks, because it lets you like block a guy, oftentimes trading with it. Then it comes back to block again. It also makes their cards like Searing Spear not as much of a blowout because you can guarantee that you're still going to have a blocker even through a Searing Spear. But Strangleroot Geist is actually also very good against any of the control decks that are relying on Supreme Verdict. as like a big card against you because it has Undying, it comes back and continues to attack them. We have 2 more Thundermaw Hellkites, making it 4 total. I really like this a lot. 4 Thundermaw Hellkites is great against like all the Lingering Souls that's being played right now. Thundermaw Hellkite's also a really good threat against some of the more mid-range decks and control decks. I definitely want this card against decks like Jund, Esper Control, Blue-White Red as just a big, powerful threat that's going to end the game quickly. 1 Devil's Play. This card is awesome against basically Esper Control or Blue-White Red Flash, or any kind of deck with Planeswalkers because you can kill Planeswalkers with it. But it's mostly good against those control decks, mainly for the fact that against an aggressive deck like this, they're probably going to board out most or all of their counter spells, and they're going to have a lot of removal spells. So there's going to be a lot of games where you get them down to like 7 life, but they're just sitting on a bunch of removal spells and you can't close out the game. And that's what Devil's plays for, just to finish the game out. If you don't kill them with the first time around, you just flash it back. A couple of Mizium Mortars. Mortars is like very good as an additional Wrath effect to go with Bonfire against like some of the more creature-heavy decks in the format, but it's also good against other decks by serving as just a spot removal spell to kill problematic cards like Loxodon Smiter and Restoration Angel especially. Pillar of Flame. Pillar comes in against basically any of the super aggressive decks you want to get, like Stromkirk Nobles, Champion of the Parishes, Mayor of Brook, like really early in the game. That's mostly where you want it. Zombies isn't like a particular popular archetype right now, but you would definitely want it against something like that as well. Ground Seal, pretty much for the Reanimator deck. This deck actually has a pretty good matchup against Reanimator anyway, thanks to Thundermaw Hellkite, but it doesn't hurt to have some additional threats against them. And then Cavernous Souls comes in as just an extra land against some of the control decks that also lets you resolve your Thundermaw Hellkites and things like that. And the reason you want an extra land in your sideboard is in a lot of matchups where like Arbor Elf and Gyre Sage are just going to die on sight, you'll have trouble with 23 lands being able to cast some of your higher end spells, so it's nice to be able to side into a 24th land. But anyway, this is the red-green deck. I'm pretty excited to play it. I'm playing against Charles Gindy, who's going to be playing Jund, so hopefully I'll be able to show him what the better red-green deck is.